Now, from the studios of Into Tomorrow in Miami, this is ITTV.
Our next guest's purpose is to redefine the personal security experience through hybrid technology with the consumer in mind, and he'll get you in and out of places with a finger. He's the inventor, CEO, and founder of BenjiLock, Robbie Cabral. Robbie, welcome Into Tomorrow. How are you, sir?
Well, Dave, it's an honor to be here. I'm pretty good. Tell you the truth, I'm actually a big fan of you because you are a CES veteran.
Oh, very
And
true.
that's where basically BenjiLock started, and we personally haven't had a chance to meet. So hopefully now in this upcoming one, I don't know if it's gonna be a hybrid 2022 or live, but I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And I'm actually pretty honored to be here on your show.
Well, terrific. We're glad to have you because I've heard of you as well over the years. Certainly people who are fans of Shark Tank have heard of you, and we'll get to that as well. But yeah, 26 years covering CES, virtually this year, of course. But I'm in agreement with you. We're hoping it's an in-person event again, or a hybrid of sorts, but we'll be there, and then we'll get to meet. You should also, and I'll say it on the air because it's something we promote big time, you should consider joining us in September in Berlin for IFA. That's the European version of CES, even a bigger show, as a matter of fact. And this will be our 18th year broadcasting from there. We'll get you into our broadcast center in Berlin and talk to you as well in person. So maybe we can meet there before Lost Wages, Nevada next time. So
That would be a good idea. You know, I haven't personally been to that show yet, so maybe this will be the first time. I mean, good thing that you brought that up.
Oh, for sure. We can talk more off the air. I'm happy to connect you with our friends from IFA. They do a heck of a show. That's why we continue to go there. We had to skip last year as well, something about some Rona, where the EU wouldn't let us in. So, and I was in a hospital at the time. So we've gotten beyond that now. So we're planning to be there in September and hopefully at the very least attend the show and check it out. And then I know you'll want to exhibit the next year. So we'll talk about that. But speaking about finances and just getting it all going, how did you happen to start BenjiLock and why that name? Do you have a dog named Benji or how did that work?
Well, you know, I'll try to cut it short, but basically, you know, I was working at my normal regular job. You know, I got 2 kids at home. My wife is a teacher. And at the time, you know, my wife was pregnant and the job I took, they said, you know, it's family owned. You're good to go. There, you know, nothing is going to happen. And long story short, 6 months into it, you know, I guess the financial or anything that was going on in the company, I got laid off.
Oh,
And it was in the worst time of the year because it was December. And then the same day that I got laid off in the morning time, around nighttime, my younger daughter, now that she's actually 6 now, Livia, was born.
oh
So
my
during
God.
that time
The
frame,
same day you were laid off?
the same day. So
Oh, gee.
it like really hit me like a brick because I was like, wow, what am I gonna do now? You know, I don't have a job. I got now 3 kids at home with a newborn. My wife has to go back to teaching in a month or so. Now I'm basically unemployed at home with kids, and you know, so at the end of the day, I decided, you know, let's do better for myself, for my family, and I started, you know, doing exercise and taking the kids to the park and taking care of the chores at home. And long story short, one day I go to the gym at nighttime and I'm in the locker room, and all of a sudden I see someone that left the key inside the locker. And I see the manager comes in and they try to bolt cut the lock, and
Oh
then they
my
put a
God.
drill. And I'm looking at all of this, Dave, and I'm saying, wow, how come there's just not a lock that you can open with your fingerprint, but also with a traditional key? Just keep it simple, no app, no phone needed, and maybe this would not have happened. And that's kind of where the whole BenjiLock idea started,
So
or BenjiLock was born. That was the concept.
Gotcha. So I'm guessing then what I'm holding up, one of the giveaways you sent for our audience, the BenjiLock padlock. And you've got a couple of different flavors of this, different sizes. But yeah, there's an opportunity just for your fingerprint. And we did use one here in our studios. Worked like a champ. So we were able to assign it to a bunch of staff that needed to get into a secured locker, basically, and it worked so easily and quickly. I mean, you barely tap it, the lock's open. and yet others whose fingerprint wasn't assigned can't get in. And unless they have bolt cutters or something. Well, if it's that important, I'm not worried about what's in the locker. So that's pretty cool. But why the name Benji? Where'd that come from?
It's interesting that you mentioned the dog movie because, at the time, I remember I was in my living room and I'm coming up with a lot of names and ideas. And all of a sudden, out of a list of names, BenjiLock came up. And I said, Benji. And then my wife goes, why not BenjiLock? And I said, you know what? BenjiLock sounds nice. It sounds catchy, sounds simple, and the kids will like it. Yeah. And I feel like it will connect with anyone. And tell you the truth, the padlock industry, which is the regular idea where it started, I always felt that it was kind of boring. And I felt like maybe let's just give it a little spark. And I think that name was just different. And that's kind of where the name started. And then that whole process, it was basically myself trying to build a prototype for the next couple years and kind of building a little brand name and the colors and how I wanted to look and feel and all this stuff. And then by little research, I said, where's the best place to actually unveil this prototype? And that's where CES came in.
Gotcha. And you spent that time while unemployed actually creating quite the success story. So then the next step, I guess, well, it sounds like overnight, but it wasn't. It was obviously, as you mentioned, a couple of years building the prototypes and getting the ideas going. How'd you end up then on Shark Tank? And for those who saw you on Shark Tank, talk about a success story. But how'd that come about?
Well, it actually came about all around the CES momentum because I have my little startup booth at Eureka Park at CES. And, I'm on a grind every day, coming in, showcasing my product, sleeping 5 hours a time, And during that time frame, they had, I believe, a Shark Tank casting call in the Venetian Hotel. And I've never heard of the show, never really thought of it. But a lot of people came by the booth and said, hey, this looks like could be a product for Shark Tank. You should go try it out. I didn't even want to bother with it. But at the time, my wife goes, you know what, you should go do it. A lot of people are just talking about it. Why not do the line and, just test your luck. So I said, why not? So went in, did a line, did a little quick casting of 2 minutes and kind of forgot about it. And a couple of weeks later after the show, I'm at home and all that. And then I got a cold call saying, hey, this is so-and-so from the Shark Tank show. And we would like for you to come in. And that whole process was probably like 6 months on a back and forth interviews and doing a lot of research on your company because they have to do all these backgrounds and all that. And if it's legit, if it's not. And long story short, they told me one day, hey, come in and do your thing. And I said, I don't have nothing to lose. I'm already, probably $90,000 already out of financials. My credit cards are all over the place. And why not, just be yourself and see if it works out. And I think it was a good move for myself.
Oh, it was definitely a good move. And then you ended up making a deal with Mr. Wonderful, right? Kevin O'Leary is the guy that was most impressed by you and your pitch.
Correct. I mean, the show itself, it's accelerating because you don't know who you're gonna pitch the product literally until a couple minutes before, and then when you actually step into the show, you have to wait at least like 30 seconds before you actually start your pitch. So during those 30 seconds, a lot of people may not know this, but a lot of the sharks, they're all looking at their phones and looking at you and looking at your brand name and searching right away to see because they don't know who you are. So they want to make sure, who is this? What product is this? Can I get him on a question or something? And that was exhilarating. I was nervous, but I said, I don't have nothing to lose. And I think it helped me out a lot because I never really seen the show. I kind of went and was just myself. Wow. And while being myself, I think I noticed through all the sharks, they were all great, from Mark Cuban to Lori Grenier, Barbara Corcoran. I think at the time it was Alex Rodriguez, which in my case, I was almost connected because he's Dominican, I'm Dominican. And I felt that there was a good connection there too. But at the end of the day, I felt that Kevin O'Leary said one thing. He said, have you ever thought of licensing? And at the time, I had approach from companies and all that. But I thought to myself, I want to keep my brand name, because I felt that as soon as you license, it's kind of like in the music industry that they sign you for a record deal, and all of a sudden a record comes out, and all of a sudden they said, well, this band or this artist is not going to make it anymore, let's shelve it. And I felt that I did not want to be part of a corporation that they just take out the name and they just take your technology and that's it.
Well, yeah, and if this is your baby, like one of your children that you've really nurtured all this time. So I couldn't agree more with, well, that might be interesting, but I don't think I want to do that. This is mine. I want to see it through.
And when he asked that, it really touched me, because I said, you know what, he's actually thinking kind of like where I've been thinking, that he's thinking outside the box. And then he asked me a lot of questions too, and also he asked me, why do you have a guitar on set? And I said, well, I used to be a musician back in the day, and when you had to put your music instruments in the van, you had to lock it up on the back. And lo and behold, I didn't know that Kevin O'Leary, he loves playing guitar. He's a shredder. So those were things right away that I connected on an artistic way. And I felt that he knows business. That's not my forte. My forte has always been a creator. And that's why I think that partnership ended up being a great one. So that's why I went with him.
And I think, Robbie, that it was probably so much better that you weren't familiar with the show. So you didn't have that anxiety on top of the initial anxiety anyway. You figured nothing to lose. What the heck? I'm going to go in, I'm going to do my pitch, I'm going to talk about my love for my products and my creativity. And if they like it, great. If they don't, nothing ventured, nothing lost kind of thing. And it worked out very well for you. What was the end deal with Mr. Wonderful that you did?
So in the end, I went to the show. I remember I asked $200,000 for 10% of the company, and then all the sharks were kind of pitching in $200,000 for 20%, $200,000 for 15%, and in the end, it was $200,000 for 15% equity in the company. Because in the end, I actually wanted a partner. I wanted someone that I could also use as a mentor. So Kevin, to this day, has been a great investor, but also a mentor. So any time that I have questions, he'll be there for me. And it was a great partnership so far, because then it really helped me now kind of leverage that partnership to our next partnership, which is Hampton Products International.
Gotcha. So it was a good investment. And how's the company doing now?
Well, it's been great. I mean, I won't lie to you. It was tough at the beginning because, when we partner up together, we only had a prototype. And that's why Kevin said, why not license? Because then, Robbie, think about it. You don't have to put all this money and all this investment and try to now create a product from scratch. And then, I had no idea how the retail world works. And that's another monster to try to get your product on retail, to try to compete now with all the companies that actually have been there, done that. And I felt to myself, as long as I can keep my brand name, that's what I want to do. I mean, let's do it. So we ended up partnering with Hampton Products, which people know because they make all the Brinks security locks. Okay. And they've been in the business for over 30 plus years. They're the #2 padlock company in America. And I felt that they were hungry. The CEO, Kim Kelly, said, hey, we like Robbie. We've seen him at CES. We've been in touch, but nothing really went to fruition until I actually partnered up with Kevin, and then everything kind of flourished. And they said, you know what, let's make it BenjiLock and let's do it. So that process, it took a little bit because they had to kind of digest my prototype. Yeah. And then from there, what you call now design for manufacturing, that's a lot of work. So that really took probably almost 6 to 8 months to kind of finalize that idea. And then the original version, which was this one, fingerprint and traditional key, this one actually came out late August of 2018. And then from there now, thanks to them, we've been able to, the same technology, use it for the TSA travel lock, for traveling, anyone that is on the go. Then we also basically, this year at CES, we unveiled a whole lineup of the same technology of fingerprint and key, kind of like, you have your bike now, your bike lock, especially now with everyone going through the pandemic, a lot of people biking and all that. Oh, there you go. I see you that
Yep,
you have one already.
We
so
have one for giveaway. So some lucky listener that rides a bike and wants to secure it with their fingerprint can do it. But by all means, and let me remind our audience listening on the radio, visit intotomorrow.com and you'll see the video. So you get to see Robbie and these cool products. You were just demoing the bike lock. So even though I interrupted, sorry about that. Show me how that works.
yeah, so basically it's the same technology as the original padlock is fingerprint.
Just
You
that
unlock
quick,
it,
it
and
unlocks.
that's it.
Wow.
But then you also have your traditional key at the bottom.
Gotcha.
So that was always my main goal when I saw that issue that happened in the gym, because the gentleman couldn't open his locker. He was locked out because he left the key inside. So I said, why not just make it a hybrid? You know, just kind of like how the cars are now in this day and age, going from gas to now you have the hybrid, you know, plug in. You still have your gas. You still can plug it in. I don't want to go all electric. I still want to be in that kind of halfway moment. And I felt that sometimes technology wants to go too fast, which is great. But also, you know, a lot of us, you know, in this day and age, you still get out of my house right now, and all the houses, they still have a keyhole.
Yeah.
So I felt that, you know, the key is still a dynamic thing in my technology, because I felt that people still use keys, but not everyone wants to go all into the new tech. So that was the whole point, and just try to keep it like that, simple. There's still no app, no phone, it's not connected. There's no Bluetooth. It's very personal security, and that was my goal.
But to use your car analogy, Robbie, which is very good, but then a lot of people I'm thinking are probably listening or watching and saying, I don't need a key for my car. I just have a fob and it's in my pocket, and the car unlocks and I push a button to start. So they've eliminated the key in that sense. Do you see eliminating the keys ultimately? I mean, it's a great backup, but don't get me wrong, I think it's terrific, especially if you have a hide a key option, or you know, you stash one somewhere, especially as important as it is to get into your own house, for example. You want to be able to have that backup so you don't lock yourself out, but you always have your fingers. And the chances are that you're not going to use anything but your fingerprint, your thumb, your forefinger. You, of course, have the option to have many fingers enrolled, if you will, many family members or staff. So there you got extra backup too. But I've already learned in using the fingerprint door lock, which we love, that I have my thumb, but I also have a forefinger, and then I have another finger on the other hand, depending on what I may be carrying. So I think that's forward thinking as well. But again, using technology very appropriately.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, talking on the door lock itself, I won't lie to you. The first batch of the fingerprint door locks that we did, I still have it here installed in my home. And the first thing I noticed was when I was going to groceries, and normally, you know, in my household, it's always on the go. Whether one kid has baseball, the other one has gymnastics, up and go with school, the pickups, drop-offs, all these other things. It used to be before that. We all come in and they have to wait in the door because I have the key and I got to open up for them. And now it's like I'm still unloading and the kids are already in because they use their fingerprint. They're already taking a shower. They're doing their thing. And I'm like, wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they're all kids. So that's when I knew that, okay, there's something special here, because the younger generation are just kind of getting it right away. And it's just that ease of use.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have our now 9-year-old young Cameron able to get in and out of the studios very easily as well. And he was so proud that he programmed his fingerprint, and especially when other staff still had to punch numbers. So that was very cool. And again, that easy to do. We're so way over our interview time, but you're such a delight to chat with. I can see that you're probably got those creative juices flowing. Your R&D is happening. I'm imagining we can see more BenjiLock products into tomorrow in the near future, and we'll have to get you back on to talk about them as well. Meantime, where can folks find the BenjiLock goodies?
Oh, anytime through BenjiLock.com or buyhampton.com, and at your available retailer, whether it's Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and even your non-traditional hardware stores like Beta or Urban Outfitters or Best Buy.
Nice.
That's the beauty of BenjiLock, that now we're able to not only go into your traditional hardware stores, but also these new up and coming retailers that you're not accustomed of seeing a lock. So that's the beauty of it. And also that kind of that partnership with Hampton Products, that they're able to not only manufacture the product, but help me distribute it all over North America. So very proud of that.
Well, great success, and we're so happy for you, Robbie. You're a gentleman, a young man with a young family, and doing the right thing. It's the American dream, and we're very proud of you for being able to do that. And thank you for joining us on Into Tomorrow. Looking forward to having you back.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Again, it's an honor, from a CES to another CES veteran. Hopefully this coming year, we're going to see each other, and wishing you always the best.
Terrific. And we appreciate that. BenjiLock.com is where you can see all the cool products and see what Robbie and his team now are up to. And of course, IntoTomorrow.com is where we will link you to Robbie's site. But so excited that you can find the BenjiLock padlocks and door locks and bike locks in all these retailers now too. So certainly a great success story all the way into tomorrow. We're back with more. I'm Dave Graveline. Stay tuned here on the Advanced Media Network.